Hey Singapore, this is Liverpool legend Ian Rush. For all your football news, stay tuned to 938 Live Sports.
From 938 Live.
This is Formula One driver Fernando Alonso.
Hi Singapore, I'm Jürgen Klinsmann.
Hi, I'm Martin Tyler.
This is Annika Sorensen.
Hi Singapore, this is Johnny Wilson. You're locked on to the best in sports. Cheers.
You're listening to Singapore's only sports talk show on radio. A good Saturday and welcome to SportsZone right here on 938 Live. I'm Noor Farhan, flying solo on this edition of the show. And today we'll be talking about the English Premier League as we review all the thrills and spills, the highs and lows, the good times and also the disappointments. First, there was Arsenal topping the league in mid-season. At one point, Chelsea were in it as well. Now, Liverpool fans had a good reason to hope again after their crucial victory against Manchester City, but they crashed down to earth after their 3-3 draw at Crystal Palace in midweek. And then the Citizens took advantage as they regained top spot in the league by thrashing Aston Villa 4-0 just 2 days ago. The best part of it all, it ain't over yet as the EPL Championship is now down to the wire, depending on the last games of the season this weekend. Now, let's take to the field on our show as we welcome this week's guests from the various EPL fan clubs in Singapore. Now, first off, we've got the founder and chairman of the Manchester City Singapore Fan Club, Haizam Shah. He's looking really happy after Man City's winning result in midweek, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure, man.
All right, and looking not so happy beside him is Chelsea fan Eric Yap. The Blues are effectively out of the title race as they're 4 points away from the league leaders with just one game left. What do you think about that, Eric?
Yes, hi. Well, we'll be there, right up there again next season. And next season, hopefully, will be a big horse. Yeah.
And then we've got Arsenal supporter Steve Tan. The Gunners secured 4th place in the league, and Steve will very soon be complaining about how his team always messes up in the closing stages of the season. But it isn't all bad news, isn't it, Steve?
No, I think this season we have took a big step up. So hopefully next season more of the same.
All right, now and lastly, how can we forget Liverpool and James Lim? For safety reasons, I've kept James away from City's Haizam this morning, as both guys will be hoping for the other to slip up, as it'll all boil down to the games played tomorrow night. Now, let's kick things off with you, Haizam. At the start of the Premier League campaign, do you imagine it to be as unpredictable as it was this season?
Okay, at the start of the season, I thought it will be an interesting season where a lot of teams were in transition. So I think we discounted Liverpool from being the top 4. So looking at the end of the season, I think it's quite a surprise to see Liverpool finally showing his potential to be where they are right now. It's really a surprise. I can't say much for United for.
Okay. Well, James, that's high praise for Liverpool from a City fan. But be honest now, at the start of the season, did you even imagine that Liverpool could go from mid-table to a top 2 finish this time around?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's not something that we expected from the start of the season. For various reasons, we had a new manager in the second season, and Luis Suarez's situation as well. So I think this is the dream season for us. I mean, I wish every season would be like that, going to the last day of the season and we are competing for the title.
And Steve, Arsenal are guaranteed their 17th consecutive appearance in the Champions League, and that's after securing 4th place this season. Now, what's your take on the fortunes of the Gunners this year?
I think we got a massive lift up from the purchase of Mesut Ozil. Everybody did not expect that. I think the club, the fans, even the players have got a massive boost. So that carried us to the middle of the season where we were on top for a while. But I think our players are not used to winning yet. Our winning mentality is still lacking. So hopefully we correct that over the summer.
All right, and as a resident Man United fan in the show, the only one, my thoughts on the Red Devils are they completely messed up with Moyes as the new manager. Then there were the panic buys, and then the tactical decisions in the games were questionable, and then he was sacked, of course. But I hope things are looking good next season, perhaps with Louis van Gaal. I mean, he's one of the frontliners to take the managerial position next year. But we'll talk more about the Red Devils later. But Haizam, let's come back to you. And are you surprised as well at the eventual sackings of certain managers in the EPL this season as it wore on? I mean, first you got Michael Laudrup leaving Swansea, and he was replaced by former player Gary Monk. Felix Magath, he took over René Meulenstein at Fulham, but failed to avoid the drop. And then there's Tim Sherwood replacing AVB at Spurs. What do you think?
Okay, I think with regards to the sackings of manager this season, it's quite sad because I always believe that for stability in a team, you got to stick with the manager, whatever the results. But unfortunately, with today's modern football, I think fans expect a lot, even the shareholders. So I think when teams are going through a good result, players are credited, but managers have to take the back seat. But when it goes to the bad results, managers are always the first person to be faulted. Especially if you look at AVB, got sacked because he didn't do well with the shareholders,
and he spent a lot of the bail money, right?
Bail money. So I think the players technically he basically bought a new team, and the fact is that with the bond that they had, it's just the first season, so definitely results will not be going to be good for Tottenham, and that's the reason why he got sacked. For Swansea, it's quite a surprise to see Michael Laudrup left. Because I thought he did well last season, but I think the player power got to Swansea. Players were not playing for him, so he had to leave before Swansea got dropped. Fulham, it was just a team waiting to get relegated, with eccentric owner, and I think the new owner who doesn't know much about football. So I think it's bound to happen. So can see that how many changes manager they had, like 2 changes before Felix Magath took over. And how do you even rally the players who have already morally been down to survive the drop? So like I say, personally I don't feel good hearing managers being sacked, because when, like I say, bad results, managers get the sack, but good result, managers never get credited unless they're going to be staying there long, in the case of Ferguson for that matter. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and especially in the case of Felix Magath, he's a multiple Bundesliga winner, but surprisingly, he did not choose to quit Fulham despite being dropped to the Championship next season. Steve, what do you think about that? A bit of loyalty there, perhaps, on Magath's part?
I think it's a refreshing change. It's very rare in modern football, especially for players. But now a manager has stepped up, saying, "You know what? Probably I could have done better. I will use this experience in English football and try to bring them up again next year."
Well, you know how fans always blame the manager when results don't exactly go their way. Even at Arsenal, there was even a point where fans were clamoring for him to leave the club. Don't you remember that at some point?
I think it has been brewing for some time now. There's always going to be fan discontent, always against managers or whatever. Like my friend here just said, managers always get the first spill of blood. It's not entirely their fault. Sometimes the players have to take responsibilities, but they're always being hiding. For example, Chelsea, the manager always steps up to cover the players, but is that always the right thing to do? So for Arsene Wenger, fans have the right to be unhappy, because it is why we watch the sport. We cannot be always looking at life in rose-tinted glasses all the time.
So you're saying Wenger should stay for the long term?
Well, I'm a big fan. He is definitely not beyond, or he can be criticized. Whether he takes it on is another question. I believe that he has had to deal with very little resources the past few years. I think it's amazing what he has done, or what we have done as a club, despite all these challenges. But obviously, improvements have to be made if we are going to have to be a big club again.
Right now, you're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live, and today we catch up with our guests from the English Premier League fan clubs in Singapore. If you've just joined us, with us in the studio is Man City fan club president Haizam Shah, Arsenal supporter Steve Tan, Chelsea fan Eric, and one of the founders and a current member of the LFC branch in Singapore, James Lim. Now, Eric, on to you. On the topic of the exciting season, it surely was a treat for football fans when it came to transfers this season, wasn't it? I mean, there was Juan Mata's departure from Chelsea to Man U.
Yes, that's right.
On the topic of transfers, not just that, there was Ozil's move to Real Madrid as well. So, do you think it made for an exciting season with all the star names moving all about?
Yes, definitely did. Certainly added a lot of flavour to the league. Star names like Ozil going to Arsenal was a bit of a surprise. But I think there was some surprising transfers. I thought the Fellaini deal was over. He signed a new contract, and then suddenly, end of transfer window, Moyes suddenly pays a little more to get him. I thought that was surprising. Ozil's transfer was surprising on its own as well, because we never expected Arsenal to sign established stars. We were expecting some young French flying winger, and wait a couple of years before he gets groomed and all. But that was refreshing, and we saw the effect it had on Arsenal, right? For at least the next couple of months. So for Chelsea, I thought Willian's deal from snatched right under the noses of Spurs. Yeah, I thought at that point in time we didn't. I didn't see the need for Willian because we had Mata Hazard, we had an Oscar, so
and even Ramirez could play on the right.
Yes, right, and we signed Schürrle as well. So I really couldn't see how Mourinho was gonna fit in and make everyone happy, giving enough game time and all. But I guess that set the tone for Mata to leave in January, and everything fit in because I guess Willian is he's faster, he's strong for his size, and he tracks back a lot more. It's a Mourinho type of player.
But not all the transfers this season worked out. Obviously, Spurs did sign so many players to replace Gareth Bale, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out for them, did it, Eric?
Yeah, definitely. I think we almost forgot about a certain Eric Lamela. Signed from Italy.
Nasser Chadli.
Chadli. Soldado too, right? He was scoring, but penalties mostly. Eventually Spurs had to turn to Adebayo, the forgotten man. So didn't quite work out for Spurs this season. So yeah.
Right, and the transfer rumours were also on overdrive, wasn't it, Eric? In the beginning of the season, there was Arsenal's alleged interest to sign Luis Suarez from Liverpool, and then there was Chelsea's bid to sign Wayne Rooney. I'm sure you remember that as well.
Yes, went on for quite a bit. But I think this overdrive will go on to next season because I think many clubs will find more reasons to need to sign better players. I mean, for Liverpool, they're back on top. They're going to be a much more attractive place to want to go to. Champions League, challenging for the title, playing with Suarez, Sturridge, and all these exciting players. City, well, you guys practically have a full squad already. I don't know how they're going to improve, but even like Arsenal, they've got a taste of what it feels like to be. They've been on top, I think, for a considerable time this season. So I think next season everyone will expect them to see how they're going to improve the squad so that they can stay there longer and in fact, maybe win the title as well.
Right now, James, I can't help but to notice the praise being heaped on Liverpool this season after how you guys played so far. But Suarez did try to leave the club with the whole drama of wanting to play in the Champions League and not wanting to play in the EPL. This was during pre-season, wasn't it?
Yes.
And he was even training without the team. So do you feel that back then Suarez should have gone and this was before he signed a new deal with the Reds, of course?
Yeah. I think no Liverpool fans would want to see Suarez go. Obviously, his attitude at that point in time was not very good. I myself was not very happy with him. I mean, going publicly and saying that he wants to leave. That is not something that we expect from Liverpool players. But I'm very happy that he has stayed. I think he is a world-class player. I think that cannot be doubted. And he has proven himself, over this season, even missing the first 5 games. He has done so much. He worked so hard. He was so enthusiastic. This is one of the players that any fans, not just Liverpool, would want to see on the soccer field. People who really want to play the game, and they just go all out. I think he's a very special player, and I'm very happy that he has stayed. But then I think that if Arsenal had come in with a decent bid, I think he would have gone. And I think our owners would have accepted the bid.
Yeah. Now, let's talk briefly about the bottom half of the table. It's also an exciting battle to avoid the drop. At one point, Sunderland were destined for the drop. They were bottom in Christmas, but now thanks to Gus Poyet, they're safe. Now, teams going down are Cardiff, Norwich and Fulham. Now, James, do you think these 3 teams deserve the drop to the Championship?
Over a season, I mean, anybody who wins the Championship deserve it, and anybody who lies at the bottom would probably deserve it. But I think again, it always come back to the the merry-go-round at the manager level, because I think the manager is the one that sets the tone, and I think people get the manager not for the person himself, but rather his ideas about how the game should be played, and this sort of thing takes time. Ideas cannot just over one season you can implement. And look at Brendan Rodgers. This is his second season. I mean, can you imagine we sack him after the first season? I think that's quite ridiculous. And I think these 3 teams, for all the changes in the management, I think they deserve to go down.
Well, one team which had a change in management was of course, Manchester United. Now, do you think that Moyes should have been given more time? Haizam, you're talking about this. You didn't really like the way he was sacked, wasn't
definitely.
it?
Like I said, giving him a 4-year contract, if I'm not wrong, and sacking him 10 months into the contract. That's ridiculous. He's not even given a full season to make his mark. And the fact is that he took over a big shoe. I wouldn't say a big shoe. It's a big dynasty that Ferguson left. So definitely, it's going to be very hard for him. And the fact is that people may question him like, why is he the chosen one? Is it he didn't win any titles with Everton, and how does he gain the respect of players? I feel like I said personally, I don't like the idea of managers not given a full season to prove their worth, to make their mark into a team. This sounds badly like how Brian Clough happened, when he took over Leeds United. And the fact is that Moyes has been the scapegoat for United's terrible season. It's really sad. I mean, let's face it. I think Moyes is happy with the fact that he's financially rich. With the fact that 4 seasons contract and it's 10 months into the contract, I'm sacked. But I think it shows that how United has never been a stable club, keeping managers up. If you compare the same time when Ferguson was manager, actually Moyes had a better record than Ferguson at the start of the season. But I don't understand. I think with the fact that a lot of the fans expect so much from because United just won the title last season, so they expect that David Moyes will just continue the tradition. And I think the fact is that when they are now 7, and I think the realization that what happened, is this the team that won last season? So I feel that Ferguson pulled a blinder to all of us. The same team that won last season, it's actually rubbish. Okay. Honestly speaking, like if you look at the addition of Mata and Fellaini, it's practically the same team that won the title last season. And how many points did they win? So with the way they treat Moyes, I feel that the next manager or the future managers who want to manage United will have second thoughts. Like, what if I lose 10 games and then everyone turns against me? I'll be the scapegoat, because the Ferguson legacy will always be there. That is something that United fans have to understand, have the realization that, this is going to be a transition. Liverpool felt it before. City has always known the fact that we have been yo-yo up and down. Right. So now is the realization that, you guys are no more demigods. No, your team is no more demigods. Now is the realization that if it's going to be 7 next season, you have to accept the fact. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm sure some Man U fans will agree with you when they call in the second half of the show. Now, Eric, you know how Moyes left Everton and he was replaced at Goodison Park by Roberto Martinez, and you've seen how their attacking play has been quite breathtaking at times. What are your thoughts on the Toffees?
I think this season they came close, right, to the Champions League place until they crashed towards the end. The brand of football they played obviously is very different as compared to Moyes' style, solid, stable at the back, and squeezing out wins here and there. But this season they play very attacking. They attack teams. They don't care if you're Man City or you're Chelsea or Liverpool. They try and win. They try to attack, and very very refreshing to see Everton play that way, because it's not like they had an overhaul of the team as well. They players like Mirallas, I think this season he has really stepped up. His qualities have really shown. The addition of Lukaku, thanks to yours truly, to Chelsea actually. I think he has been a very, very good addition to the team. Lots of power up front. So Martinez's ideas, I think at Wigan he was also playing the same style of football, but now with a better group of players, more internationals, I think his style and his qualities have really shown.
Time now for the news. When we continue, we'll be talking about the top 4 teams of the Premier League this season. Plus, we'll be going in depth with the fall of former champions Manchester United this year. We'll also like to hear your voices on what you think of this Premier League campaign. If you'd like to air your views on your favourite EPL team, then do call us later on at 669-11938. That's 669-11938. Now do call us when I tell you to do so during our next segment. So stay tuned, because it's all happening right here on 938 Live.
Good day, Singapore. This is former Manchester United player Peter Schmeichel, and you're listening to the guys on 938 Live Sports.
Welcome back to part 2 of SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Noor Farhan, flying solo today as we talk about the English Premier League season. But I'm not walking alone, as what Liverpool fan James Tan would say. With me in the studio is Manchester City fan club president Haizam Shah. He's joined by James, who's one of the founders and current member of the LFC branch in Singapore. And alongside them is Arsenal fan Steve Tan and Chelsea supporter Eric Yap. Now, if you've just joined us in the first half of the show, we wrapped up with the overview of the season. And in the second half of the show, we'll be delving into the heavy-hitting topics of the top 4 and also of the fall of Manchester United. But before that, just to let you know that my colleague and sports editor Raj Kumar is actually en route to Liverpool as we speak. He left Singapore last night and together with a futsal team which won the Standard Chartered Bank's Road to Anfield tournament Singapore finals. Now, the winning team is known as the Dorset Boys, and they'll be playing next Tuesday against other five-a-side futsal teams from around the world. And the best part is they'll be playing on the actual Anfield turf. Now, how awesome is that? Now, well, Raj spoke to the team captain before their departure, and he first asked Ruben Kanth about his feelings of leaving the Lion City for the hallowed grounds of Merseyside.
Ruben, how do you feel at this point in time? We are about to depart from Singapore for Liverpool.
We are extremely hyped up and ready for the trip. Excitement and eagerness to touch down in the UK is overwhelming for each and every one of us. We are also looking forward to playing the international tournament at the coveted Anfield Stadium, and we would like to thank Standard Chartered for granting us this valuable opportunity.
Okay, and speaking of that tournament, tell us about your preparations of the Dorset Boys, in relation to the Standard Chartered Road to Anfield campaign.
We all come from different walks of life. Our team is mostly made up of students, national servicemen, Army, Air Force, and home team regulars. Despite this hectic work and life schedules, our priorities swirl around a common passion, football. We regularly gather to kick around in social games and tournaments. Our last tournament was the Vasaki Mela Cup 2014, which we played on the 27th of April. We managed to clinch goal and, most importantly, boost the team's morale in preparation for Anfield. As such, to date, we remain in great shape without any injury concerns, which is very important to the team.
You'll be up against some of the best futsal teams from around the world. What is the target for the Dorset Boys?
We accept that we will be facing larger and tougher opponents from 14 different nations who have been also crowned local champions in their own country. Despite the odds, we still believe in ourselves and hope to attain the same level of determination and team play with. So us beating 59 other teams to attain goal in the Standard Chartered Road to Anfield Singapore tournament. We have set ourselves a personal target to qualify to the second round, progressive from the group stage of the international tournament. Any further progress will definitely be an added bonus that we will be pushing ourselves towards.
Okay, this is going to take place on May the 13th on the actual pitch at Anfield. So how do you feel about this unique feature where you're going to play on the same field as where the Liverpool Stars play week in, week out?
We all know Liverpool FC is one of the most favoured and followed clubs in the world. They have the most loyal and supportive fan base. Anfield is seen as a holy ground by many die-hard Liverpool fans. We will also treat it the same way and promise to display utmost respect and feel completely honoured to be playing in such a pitch. The thought of playing on the same pitch as legends such as Ian Rush, Kenny Dalglish, Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard, Robbie Fowler and Luis Suarez is simply unbelievable.
Just before you go, what is your message to the 938 Live listeners regarding yourself and your representation, the Dorset Boys, as you represent Singapore at Anfield on the 13th of May?
We have been given an opportunity that many have been urging to get. We will play with pride, carry the thought of representing Singapore, deeply stitched in our hearts. Till now, we can't believe that our belief is bringing us this far, miles across the continent to the holy ground of Liverpool, Anfield. Lastly, I would like to thank Standard Chartered Bank for giving us such an opportunity and those sponsors who have entrusted their brands with Dorset Boys. And to all the Liverpool fans, you'll never walk alone.
And that was the Rajman speaking to Ruben Kanth, who's captain of the Dorset Boys, and we wish them the best of luck representing Singapore at the Standard Chartered Bank's Road to Anfield finals next Tuesday. Alright then, let's continue with our show. And as we're also opening up the phone lines to hear your views on your favourite EPL team, on what you think of this season, the number to dial is 669-11938, and that's 669-11938. And if you've just tuned into SportsZone, with us in the studio is Man City fan club president Haizam Shah, Arsenal supporter supporter Steve Tan, Chelsea fan Eric, and Liverpool diehard James Lim. Now let's get going with the top 4 teams and of course the table toppers Manchester City. Now Haizam, what a change of fortunes you guys have faced since losing to Liverpool weeks back, and now the Citizens are just one win away from the league title. Now why are Man City so strong this season?
I think it boils down to Pellegrini. I think brings stability to the team. It looks like all the players are playing with pride. Unlike last season, which I think Mancini somehow or other lost the plot with regards to the players. So I think the turnaround after the Liverpool defeat was kind of a breakthrough for City players. I think they stepped up their game. I think with the fact that we have Company, who is actually a natural born leader who rallies the players well, and even Zabaleta. So I think with the fact that the title will be decided tomorrow, it's really a really exciting season for a City fan, especially for me. I wouldn't thought that 2 seasons is gonna go down to the wire once again.
And 100 goals scored in total by the team so far this season. Now, what's the reason for that? Is it the strikers or is it the midfield?
I think if you look at last 2 seasons, we were scoring goals for fun, and that's the reason why we won the title. This season is the same thing. We had Aguero, even despite his injuries, and Zeko, really, failed to deceive, never, on a good day, he scored goals for fun, but, on days where, he wouldn't perform, he's just anonymous. So I think, the team is playing with, more compact, more adventurous, and you see players like, Kolarov, who's already beating Glichy back into the first 11, and Zabaleta, I think the team is attacking as, as a one whole unit. You don't see, everyone is chips in with a goal. They see Demichelis, lack of pace, but passing the ball around just to get the attacking plays forward, to get the goals.
But Demichelis, of course, is a bit suspect in defense. Won't you agree? Yeah. Sometimes with his decision making, especially.
Yeah, decision making. I think the fact is that if you look at him, his ball playing skills are, excellent. I think that's the reason why he's favoured over, Lescott, But I think the fact is that the 100 goals that City has scored this season is a testament of how the team has been playing. So those goals are not being dependent. It's not being scored by the strikers alone. Everyone chips in. I think if Joe Hart has an opportunity to score goal, I think he would want to contribute 1 goal to the 100 goals actually.
James, on to Liverpool now. We were talking about free-flowing attack, and your team, of course, is also free-flowing as well with the SAS partnership. But somehow or other, the trophy seems to be slipping away from your fingers, isn't it?
I think we are doing very well. People talk about the 100 goals by City. People forget that we are 99.
1 goal behind.
One goal behind. And with the squad that we have, that is a miracle in itself. And I don't see us slipping from the title race. I think we are up there, going to the last day of the season. I think that is a good position to be in. Obviously, we would like to switch place, to be in control. Yeah, but the fact that we are still in the title race, going in the last game, I think that is a beautiful part of what we are going through this season,
But what went wrong since that win against City?
I think nothing went wrong. We have been playing breathtaking football, attacking, couldn't care less about defense, and it shows our defensive performance have not been that great, But I think we can't choose. We had it great going in the beginning of the season, middle of the season, and now that things doesn't go the way we want it to be, I think it's okay. I think it's all part and parcel of winning. Sometimes you got to lose.
Well, I'm sure you remember that inspiring speech by Steven Gerrard after that win against Norwich. Let's not slip up, but in the end they slipped up.
We go again.
But it was Gerrard himself who slipped up to give the win to Chelsea. But do you think he deserves that EPL title?
I think he does. I think among all the players in the league, and he has chosen to be a one man club, and that is very rare in the football right nowadays. I think for all the hard work he put in, the loyalty he has shown, I think he deserves the title. I think more than that, Liverpool fans deserve the title as well.
Right now, the game tomorrow night against Newcastle is a must-win fixture. But will it be the most nerve-wracking match you've ever watched in your life?
Not really. I think if you want to compare to 2005 Istanbul, that was nerve-wracking. I mean, going behind 3-0 to AC Milan, of all team. That was nerve-wracking, and the way we came back through the penalty, that was scary. I think this one last game, I mean, even we win, and then if City do their stuff, we will still not win the title. But I think it's great. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
All right, now, Steve, on to Arsenal now. And what can I say? Where did it all go wrong for the Gunners? It's always about the mid-season injuries, isn't it, for your team?
Unfortunately, yes, that's the current theme for the past few years. We can't really help that. Apparently, we have been looking into that situation. Maybe it's something that we feed the players. Maybe it's time to reintroduce beer into their...
But surely you must be frustrated as a long-time fan, seeing how usually Arsenal will peak at the beginning of season, mid-season, but when it comes towards the closing stages, boom.
Like I mentioned earlier, definitely there's going to be frustration, definitely for me. But I think if you take a closer look, a lot of the players in the club right now are not used to winning any trophies. So hopefully that will change in a week's time. Once with one domestic trophy on their belts, they might feel more confident and develop that winning mentality that Arsene Wenger has been talking about all this time.
You're referring to the cup final against Hull City, right? The FA Cup final?
That's right.
Right. Now, but surely too, you have to agree on some of the problems the Gunners face. Firstly, is the lack of striking options aside from Olivier Giroud. I mean, the pressure is on him to score, but the rest of the players, they don't seem to be weighing in with their fair share of goals.
I agree and disagree. Earlier part of the season when we were flying, and also in the middle, the team really clicked together when everybody was fit. But it all went downhill when I think the players did start off fine with a certain system that they were building up. But certain key players like Aaron Ramsey was injured. You can't help but think that what if he was still able to play, and with that team dynamic that we built around, Giroud might have contributed a little bit more. But I think it's fair to say that with a second option as a striker, we might have done better.
Right now, we'll be going for a quick traffic update, but when we come back, we'll continue our chat on the English Premier League season right here on SportsZone. And if you'd like to share your views as well, do call us. 669-11938 is the number to dial. That's 669-11938. Time now for Traffic Watch.
Hey Singapore, this is former Liverpool and Real Madrid winger Steve McManaman. You're locked onto SportsZone on 938 Live.
We're in the final stretch of SportsZone as we catch up with our guests to chat about the English Premier League. And let's get right back to our show, as we've certainly left the best topic for last, which is of course the fall of Man United. Now, ex-Everton boss David Moyes arrived as the chosen one at Old Trafford at the start of the season, but after a series of loss after loss after loss, elimination from the European and domestic cup competitions, and the plummet from 1st to 7th place, and the breaking of several long-standing losing records, the list goes on, as the legacy of ex-manager Alex Ferguson seems to be in tatters. Now, interim boss and current manager Ryan Giggs showed promise with his 4-0 win against Norwich, but that was followed by a 1-0 home loss to Sunderland. But they won their last home game though against Hull City, which could be Giggs' last appearance for the Red Devils. Now, I'd like you guys to jump in on this one. Let's start with you, Eric. You're anti-Man United because you're a Chelsea fan, but I sense some pity and sympathy for the fate of Man United. Do you feel that way at all?
I think, like what Haizam mentioned earlier, I think last season they were overachievers with the squad they had. This season, I think the weaknesses showed. And when you have a new manager coming in, trying to implement his ideas, trying to impose himself, as a manager that can be trusted upon to guide the club through. I think just everything went wrong from there. Panic buys as well, because I think Fellaini deal was obviously something that didn't work out. And in January, he signed Mata, only to play him largely out of position too. So what you have is a core of attacking players who are all coveting that same central attacking midfield position. So the rest are just being played out of role. So don't quite see how they're going to be able to get out of this slump. Yeah.
All right, our next caller, Simon, is a Man U fan, and he has a comment to share with us. Hi, good morning, Simon.
Yes, hi.
Yes, what's your view on Manchester United's season this year?
I think it's been pretty bad, because I think when Moyes took on the position, he fired a whole team of coaching staff, and I think that is a very bad move for anyone who wants to win champions again. And considering the fact that he is still very new in, managing a very top tier club in his career, that is a very foolish thing to do. And the next thing he did was to bring his, I would consider a Mickey Mouse team into the coaching staff. So with that issue at hand, I mean, if anyone would know, you would not want to fire a team that has been winning champions years after years after years. So, I mean, if you're the owner and you have 100 million to spare, I think the key thing is that would you want somebody who has not experience and has not been displaying a consistency in managing a team to spend 100 million on new players again. And more often than not, he has shown that he doesn't have a style and understanding of the players when he keeps playing them out of position. And that is shown by various top-tier players' frustration. Even RVP was commenting, a lot of players were just keeping quiet because they want to keep the spirit of Man U alive. So I think this boils over, and you can see how they are dispirited play. The whole thing was that when you see them playing, they play without a purpose. It's no longer the Man U that we know. When they get the ball, everybody fears them. They are playing everywhere. Everybody's running to every position, which when they bought Mata, same thing. Mata should be in the central role, but he was played off the left wing. I think it was the left wing, correct. So in that perspective, it's very disappointing to see that, if you continue having Moyes in the picture, are we certain we're going to have a new style of play that is befitting of a champions or not? I really doubt that Moyes can do it. So that's my comment.
Well, Simon, before you go, very quickly, what would you expect to see at Man United next season?
I hope to see a more experienced manager to at least come into play. I think that's one thing. Then a good, I would say, maybe a Giggs or somebody who could be a manager in waiting to be understudying the experienced manager. Because end of the day, Man U is about consistency. What has Man U all these years that have achieved the success is really about consistency, nothing more than that. But the challenge is that, in this day and age where everybody demands success from Man U, that could be a challenge to follow up with.
All right, thank you very much, Simon. Now, Steve, do you agree on the points made by Simon? There's no consistency there. They're not playing football the Man United way, and nobody's scared of them anymore.
I think they lost a little bit of the fear factor after Alex Ferguson left. I think SAF is definitely a big influence, has a presence about him in the dressing room, and as a man that has been doing so well over the past few years. So once that is gone, if the players don't feel it, the club doesn't feel it, definitely shows on the pitch. And quite right, what Simon has identified, basically is reflected on what we see on the screen every week.
All right, our next fan, Siva, is a Man City fan. But hello, good morning, Siva.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, what's your take on Manchester United season?
Manchester United season, I think, like Aisam said, they overachieved last season.
Then
actually, if you see the squad, is actually really they are not deserved to win the league title last season.
Oh, so you're saying it's a freak result then? All right, now, but James, do you agree with that? Do you think it's a freak result last season, Man United's win?
No, I don't think. If a team goes through 38 games a season, they deserve to win the title. Obviously, I think the other teams did not live up to their reputations. Let's give credit to where it is. No, I think a team that goes through 38 games are on top at the end. They deserve the title.
Haizam, I'm sure you're enjoying the fall of Man United as a Man City fan. I'm sure your Facebook feeds, all your Man United fans, they're all quiet. But do you think it's a case of player power? Because I'm sure you saw how they performed against Norwich. It's like a completely different style of play.
Okay, when you see Robin Van Persie, talking to the media about saying that he's playing out of position, you can see a sense of player power, in the dressing room. I think we are talking about the United way of fear. I think it wasn't about the United way of fear. It's actually the Ferguson way of, because Ferguson famously mentioned that no player is bigger than the club. That's the reason why he got rid of Van Nistelrooy, he got rid of Stam, he got rid of Beckham,
and Paul Ince before
that. And it wasn't about the United way. Ferguson had built a dynasty in United with the fact that everyone forgot that it was actually Ferguson. The fear, Ferguson has been there. So when Moyes took over, it was just a matter of like taking over a dynasty. And Moyes has never won a title. So how do you expect someone who has never even tasted a championship to understand what Ferguson has been building? And also I think, like what you mentioned, player power. It's obvious that you see players like leaders like Vidic, who announced that he's leaving the club halfway through the season. It's demoralizing for players to find out that your captain is leaving. Like, shouldn't you be saying like, let's wait till the season ends and then you do your plans? But unfortunately, when players like that, you can see that players are not playing for the manager. Players are just playing for their paycheck, and it's so evident that this is the testament of why United is in 7 instead of being in the top 4 for this season,
or even champions.
Yeah, even champions for that matter.
Right now, before we end though, who do you think will be champions tomorrow? Let's go around the table, starting with you, Steve.
I think it probably is Man City.
And Eric, as a non-City or Pool fan, who do you think would win?
I think it's hard for I don't see City slipping up I don't see them slipping up. I think Liverpool will do their best to win, but City, I think they will be champions again this season.
And James, as a Liverpool fan?
Oh, I have to say Liverpool, right?
And Haizam, do you think Man City will lose, possibly slip up?
Like I said, if City wins by a goal, it's still 3 points. It's just a matter of winning. Win the game, whatever Liverpool gets for the result against Newcastle, doesn't matter. But when it's going to be tricky, if it's going to be a draw. If it's a lose, then I'm just going to say the better team just won. It's like Liverpool.
Alright, now, that's all the time we have for Sports Zone today. A big thank you to our guests, which are Manchester City Fan Club President Haizam Shah, Arsenal supporter Steve Tan, Chelsea fan Eric, and Liverpool diehard James Lim. And thanks as well to our callers Siva and Simon, who phoned in earlier today. I'm Noor Farhan. Take care and bye for now.